We're at Survivor Series and we kick off the show in a banging way. And beginning the show and beginning WarGames is the model master of the structure, Io Sky. She's been in every female iteration of WarGames, but can that experience push her team forward to victory? Well, Io is confident, that's why she started the match, but who will join her? Well, Sky entering the structure, her first challenge reveals herself to be a long-time enemy. It's the Women's Speed Champion. The two workhorses of the match are starting things off. Io loves this, and Candice walks down to the ring, disgusted by Io's presence. And with her entering WarGames and the door being slammed shut, the match begins, and both women just stare whole through one another. The animosity between the two is on full display with just a simple stare, but Io begins walking towards the middle of the ring, and taunts at Lorraine, and Lorraine charges at her, and the fight is on, and they don't skip a beat, they go 100 miles an hour just like their encounter on Speed, but Io is getting on top, and she throws Candice onto a steel plate in between the two rings before joining her. It's a precarious position for both women to be in, and Candice manages to hit a lucky shot before nailing a spine-tingling DDT onto the steel. Io is writhing around in pain, but Lorraine doesn't let up as she throws her into the other ring before using the structure to her advantage. She smashes her into the steel over and over whilst taunting to the crowd. Io needs help, but she can't get it. She has the disadvantage, so she has to fend off Lorraine and whoever will join the match next. And that woman is Raquel Rodriguez, another one of Io Sky's NXT rivals. It's not looking good for the leader of Damage Control, and that thought is amplified when Raquel grabs a table and puts it into the ring. But she isn't done, as she grabs another table and puts it into the squared circle. And lastly, she grabs a kendo stick before she enters WarGames. And as soon as she enters the ring, she makes an immediate impact as she assaults Io Sky after she took out Candice LeRae. But as LeRae beats down Io, Raquel sets up a table and gloats about it. Io could be done already, and she desperately attempts to stop the inevitable as she drapes Candice across the ropes. Although as soon as she does this, Raquel does the same to her. But she can't take advantage as Io manages to connect a diving dropkick. However, she can only take out Candice, and she finds out her mistake very quickly as Raquel manhandles her. But she won't quit. She fights against a much larger athlete, although all her momentum is snuffed out with one vicious swing of a kendo stick by the Women's Speed Champion. And then Candice gets the idea. She's going to put Io through the table, but Io gets out of it and then connects a back suplex. Although as she gets up, she gets annihilated by Raquel Rodriguez. Io needs help, and backup finally arrives for Io Sky as Naomi enters the steel structure for the first time in her career, and she starts off feisty. She grabs a kendo stick before going after Candice LeRae, then taking out Raquel Rodriguez all in one fell swoop. But the best spot of the match occurs following this as Io Sky springboards from one ring to another and drop kicks Raquel. The babyfaces are getting the upper hand as with Naomi swinging a kendo stick like there's no tomorrow onto Raquel, Io manages to connect the double knees into the corner onto Candice. But now Tiffany Stratton enters a fray for her first WarGames match similar to Naomi. And again similar to Naomi, she's a force to be reckoned with, as she aids Candice in attacking Io Sky. But Io once again won't quit. She fights on no matter what, but Candice shuts her down as she plants Io with a bulldog, which puts her through the table. Io is done, and with Raquel suplexing Naomi, Candice LeRae nails a poison rana onto Io, which occurs on the table rubble. The heels are in control. Raquel even manages to put Naomi through the other table. Naomi and Io are getting completely overrun, but to equal the playing field is none other than one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, Bianca Belair, and she brings some toys with her as she puts her chair into the ring along with a trash can, and to top it all off, she brings in another table, although that table is her own undoing as Tiffany grabs it and smashes it across the EST of WWE. But it's now a fair 3-on-3 fight, there's no excuses, and eventually the babyface trio completely overwhelm the heels. Io even manages to connect a moonsault onto Tiffany Stratton, whilst Bianca Belair unbelievably hits a stalling suplex onto Raquel. It's a huge feat of raw power by Belair, but the heels fight back, with a big part of the fight coming from Candice LeRae, who grabs the trash can and uses it on whoever she can get her hands on. But now it's time for Nia to enter the structure, and from here, the heels dominate. They're controlling every aspect of the match, and on top of that, it's 4-on-3. It's an uphill battle for the faces to climb, but Nia wants to take that fight as she hits anything that moves, although she gets shut down by the much fresher Nia Jax. Although after this, the babyfaces start fighting back. Naomi, Bianca and Io won't give up without a fight. Io Sky even manages to get revenge on Candice for the DDT on the steel in between the ring as she nails her own onto the Women's Speed Champion. but now the numbers are even once again as Jade Cargill goes to war. All that's left is Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and as soon as Jade enters war, she pounces Candice, which almost sends her out the cage. And on top of this, with the power of the Hulk, Bianca Belair lifts Nia up and plants her with a KOD. It's carnage wherever you turn, it's chaos wherever you look, but that's what WarGames is all about. And with that said, things only continue to escalate to madness. Io manages to connect the Hurricanrana onto the other Iron Woman of the match, and on top of that, Jade Cargill puts Raquel Rodriguez through the table. How could things escalate from here? Well, that question may just be answered as it's now time for the Women's World Champion to enter the battlefield, but she doesn't want to. She just stays on the outside until the heels get back on top, and once she enters the match, she goes right after Io Sky, as she manages to connect in Oblivion before just beating down her future challenger. And on top of this, Raquel Rodriguez and Candice LeRae team up on Jade Cargill, whilst Nia targets Bianca and Tiffany targets Naomi. It's looking bleak for the babyfaces. That is until the final woman of the match enters the war zone. WarGames has officially begun, and Rhea goes right after Liv Morgan, but now that the numbers are even, there's no one to save her. She's all alone against Mommy, and she gets decimated. Rhea is all over Liv, and the babyfaces are starting to get on top. Io Sky even manages to connect a moonsault onto Candice LeRae, which takes her out, and from there, Liv tries to escape. She's going to try to forfeit the match, but Rhea won't let that happen, as she joins Liv at the top of the structure. Liv wants none of it, but Rhea doesn't care. Liv is done, and from there, the rest of the team crumbles. Raquel gets nailed with Jaded, Bianca impressively nails yet another KOD onto Nia, Naomi even hits a Canadian Destroyer onto Tiffany Stratton, which pops the Canadian crowd, and Rhea is looking to finish the job on Liv, but Io does just that, as she nails a moonsault onto Liv and unbelievably pins the champion. Team Rhea wins. Everyone loves this, but after the match, whilst the Women's Tag Team Champions and Naomi go to the back, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley stare holes for each other. Just like how WarGames began, Io stares one of her past rivals down. There's a lot of baggage there, although nothing comes of it as Rhea walks to the back. Is this setting the seeds for a future match? Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But what's next? Well, we're on to the second match of Survivor Series, and it's a banger. And just like the man himself would say, it's banger time. It's time for the Intercontinental Championship match, and Sheamus is ready. He's prepared to finish his story, but he's got two men to overcome, and the first man cost him everything in this championship match on Raw as Ludwig Kaiser comes out of the ring. But before he can even enter the ring, Sheamus launches himself at Ludwig. Sheamus doesn't want to wait for the bell. He wants to dismantle his other opponent before the match can even begin. But of course, here comes the champion, and he launches himself at both men, with him managing to spear Sheamus before engaging in a wild brawl with Ludwig Kaiser. You'd think we were in WarGames, but Adam Pearce allows for the war to continue. Referee, ring the damn bell. The match is officially underway, yet Braun and Ludwig don't care. They just want to kill each other, but Braun gets the upper hand. He's too much for the member of Imperium to handle, so Ludwig gets desperate as he grabs a chair and swings it into Braun Breaker's gut, but he doesn't let up. He continues to swing the steel chair with reckless abandon. It's looking bleak for the champ. That is until the Celtic Warrior reinserts himself into the fight. He's all over Ludwig Kaiser. The animosity is almost all on Kaiser, but he saves some of his fight for the champ as he sends him back into the ring before going into the corner. He's looking for a brogue, but Kaiser nails a cheap shot onto Sheamus, which allows Breaker to take down the Celtic Warrior. Although as soon as he does this, Ludwig goes to the top rope, and after fighting Braun away, he jumps off, although he gets nailed with a spear. Ludwig Kaiser is done, but he rolls to the outside. Braun can't get the pin, however Sheamus can get a pin as he tries to roll up Braun. 2. No! Braun almost lost his title again, and Sheamus looks for a bro kick, although Braun counters him with a stiff strike and knocks Sheamus onto the ropes, and from there, he gets an idea, and impressively belly-to-belly suplexes Sheamus out of the ring. He's done, but Ludwig isn't, as he tries to roll up Braun as well. 1, 2, no! Braun almost lost again to a roll-up, and that sets him off as he hits another belly-to-belly to the outside. But due to Sheamus indirectly cushioning the move, both men get to their feet, which allows for Braun to dive onto both athletes. And from there, he puts Sheamus in the ring before locking in a Steiner recliner. Braun's going back to his roots. Sheamus has nowhere to go, but as he fades, Ludwig desperately breaks up the submission, and that makes Braun furious as he sends Kaiser to the outside before he begins to charge towards his target and decimate him with a spear. And he connects it. Ludwig is out, and as Braun looks to get back into the ring, Sheamus denies his application and begins the 10 beating blows. Each strike chest shattering. Sheamus is demolishing him with the 10 beats, and after the 10th, Braun collapses to the outside, but Sheamus knows this is his chance as he rolls him back into the ring before setting him up on the top rope and connecting an avalanche white noise. Is Braun done? No! He survives. Sheamus can't believe it, but he knows he needs a bro kick, so he lines him up, although Braun ducks and then he tries to grab his throat, although with a stiff elbow, the Celtic Warrior hits an Irish Curse backbreaker. But he doesn't go into the cover, he wants the brogue, and finally he connects it, but as soon as he does, Ludwig tosses him to the outside before stealing the cover. 1, 2, no! Sheamus, just in the nick of time, saves his chances to become Grand Slam champion, and he's irate. He's knocking lumps out of Kaiser, but the other challenger reciprocates the assault. It's back and forth between both men, but the champ wants a piece of the pie, so he starts to integrate himself into the trading. No man will wilt. Okada on their feet, but Kaiser isn't, as he gets taken down by a knee from Sheamus, and he gives one to Braun as well, although Braun instantly gets back up and takes Sheamus to the outside. But as Sheamus tries to get back into the ring, he gets speared down by Braun. Now all that's left in the ring is Breaker and Kaiser, and Ludwig out of pure desperation nails him running into Giri onto the champ, but he can't go into the cover as Sheamus pulls him out the ring. Although as soon as he goes for further punishment, Ludwig hits him with brass knuckles. Sheamus is out like a light, so Ludwig goes back into the ring, although he gets speared out of his boots. Braun wins. He keeps a hold of his Intercontinental Championship, but Sheamus was never pinned, so although Braun celebrates his victory, he knows the Celtic Warrior will return one day to finish his story. We're halfway through Survivor Series and it's time for the United States title to be defended. The new Shinsuke Nakamura is here. It's a much darker, sadistic iteration of the King of Strong style. The champ's got his work cut out for him, but he wants to talk to ya. Let me talk to ya! You see, last time I was at a WWE Premium Live event in Canada, I came up short, but tonight, nah. Because if you want to see me whoop this fake emo Batman all across this arena, give me a yeah. Shut up, you snarky, unworthy piece of shit. Get down here and meet your fate. And LA Knight obliges. He's on his way to the battlefield, and once he gets into the ring, the match is on, and Knight is strung out the gate. He's showing why he's a megastar, but this is the new Nakamura, and he fights back with ease before he begins to annihilate Knight with strikes. It's almost as if it's child's play for Nakamura, although this is a nightmare situation for the megastar, but he doesn't give up. He fights back, although Nakamura sees it coming as he counters and manages to lock in a cross arm breaker. Knight is in trouble. We could already see a new champ, but with the champ's experience, he finds a solution as he manages to escape to the outside, although as he's recuperating, he gets jumped and hurled into the steel steps. Knight is in trouble, and Shinsuke Nakamura keeps up on the offensive as he hurls the champ into the barricade, and once he sends him back into the war zone, he starts using his knees. It's almost like each knee causes a personal earthquake for LA Knight, and after 3 knees, Nakamura relents and goes into the cover for a fancy 4th knee. 1, 2, no. Knight has gas left in the tank, but how much? As Nakamura attempts to drain the remaining life force out of the United States champion through another armbar, although he pulls on the megastar's leg as well. Will Knight tap out or can he fight out of it? Well, after a mighty struggle, the mighty champ gets out of it. Knight's got a shot, and just like Carmelo Hayes, he doesn't miss. He's firing back with whatever he's got, and the crowd are eating up the comeback. They're absolutely loving it, and so is Knight as he hoists Nakamura onto the top rope, and everyone knows it's suplex time. And this time, after playing to the crowd, he grabs Nakamura and connects his jumping suplex flawlessly, and from there he goes into the cover. 1, 2, no! Nakamura lives. His chances of becoming United States Champion stay intact, but for how long? As Knight is measuring the King of Strong style to get up for some blood-force trauma. However, as Knight looks for a kick to the gut, Nakamura counters, spins him around, smacks him in the face before planting him with his signature inverted power slam. Is Knight done? No! Or in the words of Knight, nah. Although as soon as he kicks out, Nakamura looks poised. He's going for Kinshasa, but Knight reverses, and he then connects the BFT. But Nakamura's ring experience is second to none, as he manages to roll to the apron, whilst Knight tries to go to the cover. It's heartbreak for the megastar, but regardless, he puts the King of Strong style back into the ring, connects a burning hammer, but he doesn't go to the cover. He climbs to the top rope and looks for the megastar elbow, but Nakamura moves, and as soon as both men get to their feet, Shinsuke nails a Kinshasa. 1, 2, no! Knight stays in the match, but what everyone knows is that LA Knight is on his last legs, and Nakamura knows it, so he goes into the corner and calls for another Kinshasa, but as he's running, something unexpected happens. Both men are out. Who attacked them? Well, no one knows, but the referee knows to count, and he rules the match a double knockout. There's no winner, and before the show cuts to the ads, there is no resolution. There is no happy ending. But regardless, we're on to the penultimate match of Survivor Series, and it's a good one. It's now time for the World Heavyweight Championship match. Everyone is excited. Can Damian Priest become a two-time world champ, or will his victory be robbed once again by the champion? The champ is here. The unstoppable force of the main event scene has arrived, and truly his last challenge before he can truly solidify himself at the top of the mountain. This is the last man Gunther needs to overcome clean, but everyone is rooting for the challenger. Everyone wants Priest to win, but Gunther doesn't care as he hands off his championship for what could be the last time. The match is on, and both men stare holes through each other. The crowd are on their feet. They want them to fight, and both men make their way towards the center of the squared circle, and Gunther very arrogantly says, "Come on, Damian, I'll give you the first shot." And Priest obliges. He hits Gunther first, then he demands for Gunther to hit him back, who also obliges with a vicious chop. And as soon as Priest falls, Gunther looks for a knee drop, but Priest moves and nails a kick which stuns Gunther to his core, and he desperately lies on the ropes, although that doesn't give the ring another break, as Priest sends the champion to the outside. And from there, Priest takes a humongous risk as he dives onto the ring general with no precaution for his own safety, and as soon as he picks up the champ, he launches him into a barricade, but he can't inflict any more damage as Gunther moves and he slams Priest into the ring post. Then after this, he picks him up and then plants him onto the steel steps. Gunther is in control, and once he sends Priest back into the ring, he begins to dominate. He sends Priest into the corner, nails an uppercut and a vicious knee to the down challenger, and once he picks him up, he then nails a German suplex which spikes Priest onto his neck. Priest is hurting, so Gunther picks him up and nails another. The match is turning into a prime Brock Lesnar affair, but Priest attempts to shut it down as he counters the third German suplex, and he then nails a sidewalk slam. Then he quickly follows through with an elevated flatliner before going into the first cover of the match. 1, 2, no! The first pin was almost the last, and Priest thought that was the case as well, but he knows he needs more, so he looks for a South of Heaven chokeslam, but Gunther clocks him with an elbow, which begins the striking portion of the contest, as Gunther clobbers layers out of Priest, but the former Judgment Day member reciprocates. It's a very intense section of the match, but neither man will give up, neither man will wilt, but Priest knows he'll get knocked down by knife-edge chop, so he continues to evade it, and because of that, he's managing to overwhelm Gunter. He even knocks him onto the ropes again and knocks him out of the ring again. And just like earlier in the match, Priest looks for a dive. However, Gunter unbelievably catches him this time and powerbombs Priest onto the ring post. His back must be broken in half, and Gunter knows the pain Priest must be in, as when he sends Priest back into the ring, he locks in a half Boston Crab. It's a dire situation for the challenger to be in, but he won't give up. So Gunter just amplifies the pressure more and more, but Priest still won't give up. He even manages to get out the submission hold, but as he gets to his feet, Gunter applies a crossface. Priest can't catch a break, as Gunter just wants to dismantle Damien. He wants to make Priest give up again, but Priest won't do it. He refuses to tap or pass out, and he fights out of it with a kick to the gut, giving Priest the opportunity to nail the Razor's Edge. Is the match over? Well, he goes into the cover. 1, 2, no! Gunter lives. He won't let his gold go that easily, but Priest gets an idea. He goes to the top rope and then plays to the crowd as Gunter pops up to his feet, but as he leaps off, Gunter impressively catches Priest before planting him down on the canvas, and from there, Gunter attempts to lock in a rear naked choke, but he can't get his arm fully wrapped around with Priest fighting out of it. He knows how dangerous that move is, but as both men get to their feet, Gunter counters a strike with a headbutt, although Priest kicks up and then gets nailed by a lariat which turns him inside out. Is he done? 1, 2, no! Priest survives, and Gunter knows Priest is only doing just that. He isn't thriving in the ring against the Ring General, and Gunter just taunts him with kicks, but Priest refuses to stay down, and when Gunter looks for another lariat, Priest manages to counter, then almost in a taunting way, applies a sleeper hold. Will Gunter tap to his own move? The crowd thinks so. They're on their feet, but the Ring General crushes their dreams as he fights out of it before he almost amputates Priest through an unbelievably stiff knee trembler, which sends Priest to the outside. And once Gunter puts him back into the ring, he goes to the top rope. This can only mean one thing, but he can't connect a splash as Priest manages to move out of harm's way, and as Gunter gets up, Priest puts him in a fireman's carry position, but his back gives out. Gunter has damaged it too much, so the Ring General chops Priest down, descends to the heavens before crashing down onto the broken angel. 1, 2, no! Priest is still in the match, but he has nothing left as Gunter picks him up and just taunts into his lifeless face. But that sign of disrespect gives Priest a sudden burst of adrenaline, and he nails himself with Heaven Chokeslam. Is Gunter done? No! He kicks out again, so Priest begs for him to get up. He wants to hit another, but Gunter hits a desperate elbow and a body folding chop, and from there, Gunter hits a powerbomb, but he doesn't stop there, as he locks in a rear naked choke. It's insult to injury, and Priest has no choice but to pass out. Gunter wins. He retains his World Heavyweight Championship. He solidifies his reign with yet another fantastic match. You don't have to like him, but you've got to respect him. Although as he's leaving with the golden hand, he gets confronted by the only man to ever make him submit. But Dragunov is still clearly injured, so why is he here? Well, it's not just to warn Gunter, but to introduce the champ's next challenger. And after the shocking return of CM Punk, it's now time for war. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the wise man to my and your tribal chief, and I am here to introduce to you the one true bloodline. And kicking off the Bloodline Civil War Games match is the man who leveled up the Bloodline saga during 2022, the honorary Uce, Sami Zayn. He's been in every iteration of the men's War Games match on the main roster, so he's no stranger to the structure, although his opponent never has stepped foot in War until now. Solo's strategy is to send out the big guns immediately. It's a brilliant strategy by the Timu Tribal Chief, and Jacob of course loves it. He loves the fact that he can inflict pain on Solo's behalf. And with the cage door slammed shut, the two competitors start going at it. They're trading strikes like there's no tomorrow, but Zayn is the underdog from the underground. He can't just simply overpower or overwhelm Jacob. He's an entirely different animal, and Sami knows it, as he does whatever he can to keep the big man down, but nothing's working. Jacob is too much. This is not a good start for the OG Bloodline. Jacob is dominating Sami, and it doesn't help that they're at a disadvantage, as Tama Tonga is the next start to enter the fray. But he brings some new toys with him first, as he grabs a kendo stick before he begins beating it into Sami. It's looking bleak for Zayn, but he fights on regardless. He even manages to get the kendo stick off Tama, and he begins laying into both men before it breaks. But that still isn't enough for Jacob, as he nails a Samoan drop onto Sami before discarding him to the other side of the ring, which allows for him to recuperate as the next entrant in the match evens the odds. And it's Jey Uso. Everyone loves this. However, it's a 2-on-1 for the Uso, but not for too long, as Sami takes out Tama, which allows for Jey to get into the match as he targets Jacob. Everyone in the OG Bloodline knows the threat he poses, so Jey gets right to work as he nails super kicks left, right and centre, just in an attempt to keep down Fatu. He even unleashes that dog in him as he nails a spear onto Jacob, while Sami hits a haluva kick on the Tama Tonga. The babyfaces are on top, but for how long? As the next entrant, the infamous Tongaloa, looks to bring the advantage back to the Bloodline, and due to both Sami and Jey being distracted by the aura Tonga carries, that allows for Jacob to make the fight more fair for Tonga to enter. As with Jacob assaulting Jey, the Tongas go after Sami. It's a complete mauling, but Jey and Sami fight on regardless, but they can't match them. It's a 3-on-2. They need help, but they have to hold on by themselves, with each passing second feeling like an eternity for the babyfaces, as with each blow, with each move, they grow weaker and weaker. It's looking hopeless for Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. That is until Jimmy Uso enters the war zone. All that's left is the two tribal chiefs before the match officially begins, and Jimmy brings some weapons of his own as he brings chairs into the battlefield and smacks it across anyone he sees. But once again he runs into the brick wall of Jacob Fatu. He is seemingly the difference maker in the match, but the match rages on either way, and with it being a 3-on-3 now, it's more of an even fight. It's not entirely impossible for the babyfaces to overcome the heels, but they know that they'll be outnumbered, so they try their best to neutralize as many Bloodline members as possible before the tribal chief arrives, but they're failing. They can barely hold them off, let alone take them out. And that becomes even more evident as Solo Sikoa enters as the last man for the new Bloodline. It's once again a huge disadvantage for the trio of Usos, as they all get battered and bruised by all members of the new blood. Tama and Tonga double team Jimmy, Jacob manhandles Jey, and Solo acknowledges Sami Zayn through physical force. He's beating him to a pulp, but Zayn won't quit. He won't stay down no matter what's thrown at him. That is until Solo hits him with a chair to the skull. Everyone is stunned into silence. Sami is out cold. Everyone looks unconcerned, but Solo doesn't stop. He keeps on hitting chair shot after chair shot, with the chair ultimately snapping across Sami's skin. He's out. It's down to the Usos, but now it's 2-on-4. No one can feasibly overcome their odds, especially with the 4 men representing the most dangerous group in wrestling. So they get beaten down, whether it be with weapons, strikes or power moves. They get absolutely clattered by Jacob, Tama, Solo and Tonga. They need their tribal chief, and eventually they get him. And with Roman Reigns entering WarGames for the second time, the match officially begins, but the anarchy only escalates. Everyone is brawling with everyone. Even Sami Zayn has fight left in the tank, although he's clearly not in a good state, and the other 3 Bloodline members know this, as they shield him from as many attacks as possible. Roman even sacrifices himself as Jacob puts the OTC through the table, but he can't get the 3 count, and with the match going on, it becomes more and more evident that Sami isn't fit to continue the match. match, but it's WarGames, so as one last dance, as one last move to give the OG Bloodline an advantage, he goes to the top of the cage, and from there, descends from the heavens. Jacob is done! Sami has neutralized the biggest threat of the match and turned it effectively into a 3-on-3, and that gives Jimmy an equally very dangerous but elusive opportunity as he takes out Tonga Loa through a similar daredevilish spot. But before Jay takes out Tama Tonga, he says to Roman, "Get it done." It's down to Solo and Reigns. They share the cage with just the two of them, and they start trading. Neither man will wilt, but Solo attempts a Samoan spike, which is what put away Roman at Crown Jewel, but the OTC gets out of it, and with a spear, he goes into the cover, and with no one there to break up the pin, the OG Bloodline win. Reigns gets his win back, and with the OG family reunited aside from Solo Sikoa, they stand triumphant, and Roman acknowledges all three downed men. He allows them to celebrate the win without him, but as he's about to leave, he gets cut off by someone electrifying.